Penguin Random House Audio presents The World of Ice and Fire, The Untold History of Westeros and the Game of Thrones, by George R. Martin, Elio M. García Jr., and Linda Antonsson. Read for you by Roy Dotrice, with Nicholas Guy Smith.
To his most esteemed and gracious lord, Tommen, the first of his name, King of the Andals and the Rhoynar and the First Men, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms and Protector of the Realm, Yandel, humble Maester of the Citadel, wishes thousandfold prosperity, now and forever, and wisdom unmatched.
Preface. It is said with truth that every building is constructed stone by stone, and the same may be said of knowledge, extracted and compiled by many learned men, each of whom builds upon the works of those who preceded him. What one of them does not know is known to another, and little remains truly unknown if one seeks far enough. Now I, Maester Yandel, take my turn as mason, carving what I know to place one more stone in the great bastion of knowledge that has been built over the centuries, both within and without the confines of the citadel, a bastion raised by countless hands that came before, and which will, no doubt, continue to rise with the aid of countless hands yet to come. I was a foundling from my birth in the 10th year of the reign of the last Targaryen king, left on a morning in an empty stall in the scribe's hearth, where acolytes practiced the art of letters for those who had need. The course of my life was set that day, when I was found by an acolyte who took me to the seneschal of that year, Archmaester Edgeron. Edgeron, whose ring and rod and mask were silver, looked upon my squalling face and announced that I might prove of use. When first told this as a boy, I took it to mean he foresaw my destiny as a maester. Only much later did I come to learn from Archmaester Ebros that Edgeron was writing a treatise on the swaddling of infants, and wished to test certain theories. But inauspicious as that may seem, the result was that I was given to the care of servants, and received the occasional attention of maesters. I was raised as a servant myself amongst the halls and chambers and libraries, but I was given the gift of letters by Archmaester Walgrave. Thus did I come to know and love the citadel and the knights of the mind, who guarded its precious wisdom. I desired nothing more than to become one of them, to read of far places and long-dead men, to gaze at the stars and measure the passing of the seasons. And so I did. I forged the first link in my chain at 3 and 10, and other links followed. I completed my chain and took my oaths in the 9th year of the reign of King Robert, the first of his name, and found myself blessed to continue at the citadel, to serve the archmaesters and aid them in all that they did. It was a great honour, but my greatest desire was to create a work of mine own, a work that humble but lettered men might read, and read to their wives and children, so that they would learn of things both good and wicked, just and unjust, great and small, and grow wiser, as I had grown wiser, amidst the learning of the citadel. And so I set myself to work once more at my forge, to make new and notable matter around the masterworks of the long-dead maesters who came before me. What follows herein sprang from that desire, a history of deeds gallant and wicked, peoples familiar and strange, and lands near and far. Ancient History. The Dawn Age. There are none who can say with certain knowledge when the world began. Yet this has not stopped many maesters and learned men from seeking the answer. Is it 40,000 years old, as some hold, or perhaps a number as large as 500,000, or even more? It is not written in any book that we know. For in the first age of the world, the Dawn Age, men were not lettered. We can be certain that the world was far more primitive, however, a barbarous place of tribes living directly from the land with no knowledge of the working of metal or the taming of beasts. What little is known to us of those days is contained in the oldest of texts, the tales written down by the Andals, by the Valerians, and by the Gascari, and even by those distant people of fabled Ashai. Yet however ancient those lettered races, they were not even children during the Dawn Age. So what truths their tales contain are difficult to find, like seeds among chaff. What can most accurately be told about the Dawn Age? The eastern lands were awash with many peoples, uncivilized, as all the world was uncivilized, but numerous. But on Westeros, from the lands of always winter to the shores of the summer sea, only two peoples existed, the children of the forest and the race of creatures known as the giants. Of the giants in the Dawn Age, little and less can be said, for no one has gathered their tales, their legends, their histories. Men of the Watch say the wildlings have tales of the giants living uneasily alongside the children, ranging where they would and taking what they wanted. All the accounts claim that they were huge and powerful creatures, but simple. Reliable accounts from the rangers of the Night's Watch, who were the last men to see the giants while they still lived, state that they were covered in a thick fur, rather than simply being very large men, as the nursery tales hold. There is considerable evidence of burials among the giants, as recorded in Maester Kennet's Passages of the Dead, a study of the barrow fields and graves and tombs of the North in his time of service at Winterfell, during the long reign of Cragan Stark. From bones that have been found in the North and sent to the Citadel, some maesters estimate that the largest of the giants could reach 14 feet, though others say 12 feet is nearer the truth. The tales of long-dead rangers written down by maesters of the Watch all agree that the giants did not make homes or garments, and knew of no better tools or weapons than branches pulled from trees. The giants had no kings and no lords, made no homes save in caverns or beneath tall trees, and they worked neither metal nor fields. They remained creatures of the Dawn Age, even as the ages passed them by. Men grew ever more numerous, and the forests were tamed and dwindled. Now the giants are gone even in the lands beyond the wall, and the last reports of them are more than 100 years old. And even those are dubious. Tales that rangers of the Watch might tell over a warm fire. The children of the forest were, in many ways, the opposites of the giants, as small as children, but dark and beautiful. They lived in a manner we might call crude today, yet they were still less barbarous than the giants. They worked no metal, but they had great art in working obsidian, what the small folk called dragonglass, while the Valerians knew it by a word meaning frozen fire, to make tools and weapons for hunting. They wove no cloths, but were skilled in making garments of leaves and bark. They learned to make bows of weirwood and to construct flying snares of grass, and both of the sexes hunted with these. Their song and music were said to be as beautiful as they were, but what they sang of is not remembered, save in small fragments handed down from ancient days. Maester Childers' Winter's Kings, or the legends and lineages of the Starks of Winterfell,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?